apparently there was someone that I really thought was the face of hatred. And if you can imagine anyone that you've ever thought that about for a moment, it might be helpful. If you can imagine anyone that you just thought was the face of hatred, notice that when you imagined that face, or when you looked at that face, notice what you were feeling. This is the first thing that Holy Spirit wants me to see. The first thing that Holy Spirit wants me to see is that my feelings are in my mind. It is so easy to project things outside. And anything that we project away from us truly cannot be healed, because we are not accepting responsibility for it. In order for it to be healed, the first step is that we must accept it is an unhealed spot in me. As long as it's him or her, it cannot be corrected or healed for me. So the first thing Holy Spirit is asking me to notice is that all of my feelings about my brother are in me. And that's always true. All of my feelings about anyone or anything are always in me. If I'm mad at the government and the way they do things, all of that anger is in me. That's always true. All right? So when you look at your brother and feel this grievance, notice that the grievance is hatred within you. Holy Spirit is not saying this to make me guilty. But Holy Spirit wants me to notice and take responsibility. Because I must notice and take responsibility before it can be healed. Notice that you are looking at your brother, seeing hatred and feeling hatred within. Then notice that you are looking at your brother and yourself through a looking glass or veil that is covered with the belief in hatred. The next thing Holy Spirit wants me to realize is that I could not have this projection or feel these feelings, these emotions, if there was not a belief in my mind that hatred exists. And it's not that hard to say, yeah, I believe hatred. It's not that hard to say that. In fact, you might find, yes, I do believe it. I absolutely believe there's hatred in the world. And that's what Holy Spirit's asking us to do. Yeah. Yeah, I believe there's hate in the world. Yeah. Okay, then Holy Spirit continues, this is what you need to see. Hatred is not a thing, it is a belief. It is a false belief. Just as you have let go of other false beliefs, another false belief is showing up for you to let go of now. Okay, so when I said that, yeah, I believe there's hatred in the world. I believe. See, I have to take that responsibility. I have to look at exactly what's going on there. See, what happens is we don't pay attention. The ego loves that. It's called denial, projection. We don't pay attention. We say, I believe there's hatred in the world, and we accept it as a fact that there is hatred in the world, but that's not a fact. It's a statement of I believe. I believe. I believe. So let's look at that. Let's look at the belief that is coloring what you see and creating your experience. Notice that you do believe in hate. Holy Spirit's not asking us to act spiritual and pretend like that thought was not in my mind. He's asking us to notice that it's there. Notice that you do believe in hate. You going to get her? Notice that you do believe that hate is a real obstacle to love. And this is what you see reflected in your brother. Okay, I don't remember the specific situation, but it's not hard for me to imagine this, because I do remember other situations where I thought I saw hate in someone, right? So I can pick a face, and I can remember the hate I thought I saw in that person's eyes, that person's expression, that person's actions, that person's words. And I can admit that I thought that was a real obstacle to love. This is a real problem. How can we love with people like him in the world? How can we love with people like that? This is a real obstacle. I believe this is a real obstacle. I need to admit this. I don't want to get all spiritual and, at the intellectual level go spouting only love is real. I want to get to where I actually see and experience only love. And the way I get to where I actually see and experience only love is by allowing the obstacles to love's presence within my own mind, allow them to be exposed and healed. So I need to look at what I truly believe. I believe his hatred, her actions are a real obstacle to love. I believe. Notice that you do believe in hate. Notice that you do believe that hate is a real obstacle to love. And this is what you see reflected in your brother. Then remember that you cannot see the faults unless you hold to the belief in the faults within your mind. Give your willingness to let this false belief in hatred be released from your mind. Again, Holy Spirit is asking me to take full responsibility for the way I see. I believe her actions are a real obstacle to love. I believe in a real obstacle to love. All right? And then comes a moment of decision, because I know that Holy Spirit teaches that love is all there is. So in this moment of decision, I have to decide if I am going to trust what I believe, what I experience more, or if I'm going to trust what Holy Spirit says more. And in NTI Matthew, Holy Spirit asks us to trust Him over everything we think, hear, see, or experience. And at some point, I have to make the decision whether I'm going to do that or not, to be honest. I'm either going to believe my experience, or I'm going to trust Holy Spirit more than my experience. And if I choose to trust Holy Spirit more than my experience, then my next step is to give my willingness to have this false belief healed. Because as long as it's there, I'm going to experience hate and I'm going to think it's real. I need to admit it. I need to take responsibility. Yes, I am having this experience because I believe hate is a real obstacle to love. And then I need to remember that Holy Spirit teaches that love is all there is. I need to realize that I do not see that way. And I need to give my willingness for this belief, which is coloring my way of seeing, I need to give my willingness for it to be healed. Now I notice that Donna is asking a question, so let me minimize my screen and see what she says. Regina, isn't this